Good morning, good people. This is your girl, Reagan Adams with All Things Reagan. Thank you so much for joining me this morning or whenever you decide to log in. So I know this title is throwing you, and it's good because I mean it. So as I was driving along this morning, I was thinking about my country accent. And I remember when God first started telling me to do videos years ago. And I didn't want to because I did not like the way my voice sounded. Like, I just didn't like how it sounded. And I put it out for a good bit because I was like, you know, Lord, I don't really care for how I'm looking. I don't care how I sound. Like, who's going to listen to me? Like, you want me to get on here and talk about my life? You want me to get on here and just talk? Like, who cares about that, right? And so, I put it out for a few days, and probably more than a few days, but that was a while ago. So we just ad-libbing right now. Okay. And so, then I remember God talking to me about Moses and how Moses had a speech impediment. So on top of the way I sound, I also have like a birthmark or something on my tongue. And then because of that, and people have talked about me prior, I have developed a way to hold my mouth to keep people from looking in my mouth. And so when people look at me, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, you're looking in my mouth. And so, it's still with me to this day, right? And so that, on top of the way I look, I sound, I got this thing on my tongue, and I'm holding my mouth this kind of way. It makes me very like scared to speak. And so I'm listening to me. I'm having this full conversation with God, like, Lord, you know all these things are wrong with me. And he said, yeah, let's take it back to Moses. And I'm like, okay. So God had told Moses from the burning bush that he wanted him to go to Pharaoh. And now Pharaoh was the king. He was torturing the people. Like, it was a mess. And so Pharaoh was like, I'm not Pharaoh, but Moses was like, man, you see how I'm talking. Like, I have a speech impediment. What am I going to get? Like, he didn't feel qualified. Why did you call me? Like, I don't think I'm the right person for this job. Why are you telling me to go to Pharaoh? Like, this does not make any sense. You see how I'm talking. You hear how I'm talking. And basically, like, God is like, I made you. I know what you sound like. I know who you are. You are the person for the job. I need you to go to Pharaoh. So he's like, okay, what do I say when I get to Pharaoh? And so he's like, don't worry about it. Just go. So today I want to encourage you to tell you, just go. I know you don't like how you sound. I know sometimes you don't like the way you look. I know you feel like you're not qualified to do certain things, but guess what? God made you, right? He knows what you look like. He knows what you sound like. He knows the life you've been living. Listen, if he can use me with the life I've been living in my past tense, listen, even more recently, he can use anybody. He knows you. You are qualified to go to Pharaoh. Pharaoh being you are qualified to go to the marketplace. Pharaoh meaning you're qualified to do the videos. Pharaoh meaning you're qualified to do the business. Pharaoh meaning you are qualified to speak into people's lives, right? Because I told you I was thinking who in the world would listen to me talk about a relationship? Who in the world will listen to me talk about the things that I talk about? People do it all the time. And God, when he sends you, he just needs you to take that first step. And so that's what Moses did. He went and he took that first step when he got in front of Pharaoh. And so what ended up happening is he was able to get Pharaoh to let God's people go. What do you have? Oh, this is good to me. When God was talking to me about this, I said, oh Lord, I can't wait to talk to the people about this. What do you have in you that is going to free somebody? Ain't that good? There is something in you right now that you can go to other people and they will listen to you. They admire you, and you can help them, and it will free them to live a better life than what they were living before. Listen to me. I've seen it happen. And all you got to do is take that first step, and God will put in you what you need to say and do. Because you'll start getting a feel for it. Now I don't have a problem making videos. It doesn't matter. But I had to first get out there and initially do it. And I've helped a whole bunch of people because I took that first step. So what is your impediment? Is it the way you look? Is it the way you sound? Is it the way you feel like you're not qualified? What is that thing that you think is wrong with you that you don't make a difference in somebody else's life. Because essentially we are here to help people. You know, there's God talks about, you know, it's good that man not be alone. That doesn't just work for Adam and Eve. We need each other. One can chase 1,000, two can chase 10. Like, we can do more together. So we're here on the earth to bless people. And that's what you're supposed to do. So God, when I say God doesn't care, I mean God doesn't care what you look like, what you think is wrong with you, what you don't think you're qualified for. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Like, I can give you a specific, and I talk about this all the time because I'm one of those people who don't like excuses. Like, I don't know. I mean, I didn't have enough money. I didn't have enough this, because I've been in a situation where I haven't had anything, and I still had to go out here and do business, or I still had to go out here and encourage people. I didn't have it. But guess what? I had to remove the excuse. So I remember, real quick story, and I tell this all the time. When my ex-husband passed away, God had already told me, you know, go on and get a key before he passed, get a key from him to go and check on him, because he wasn't doing well. And so when I was on my way to the house. When I opened the door, I already knew he was dead, right? Before I even saw him. And I walked up his stairs and saw him dead on the floor. That night, that week, but specifically that night, I was in conference at church serving my pastor at her first women's conference. I knew that was important to her, right? But it was also important to me because it was showing me, you know, how to be around famous people and not be all weirded out and all of that stuff, because where I'm going to be around famous people. So I needed to be under that platform, and I needed to be there. But then I also, again, was serving my pastor at a very integral part of her ministry, right? And so when I went and saw my ex-husband dead on the floor, I could have went and got my daughter and went back home and cried. I could have. We had been together for like half my life, right? Even though we were divorced, I still cared about him. I loved him. We had a daughter together, you know what I'm saying? But what did I do? After the coroner came and got him, I went to church and continued to serve. Now, I wouldn't listen. I didn't go in there, you know what I mean? But I praise God for the time that he was there in my life, in our daughter's life. But I could have very well used that excuse to say, you know what? I got to go home. I can't continue to serve. No, the word says, let the dead bury the dead. He's no longer here. How many of you have had a certain person that has left your life? This is good. Who has left your life or has passed away, and you have stopped living? You feel like you can't do that certain thing because that person is gone. That's an excuse. Yes, I know it may hurt, but you got to push through that thing. And please believe me when I say you cannot get to heaven. And God said, what did I put you on earth here to do? And you said, because such and such left my life, I didn't do it. God don't give you a pass for that. Because sometimes that this person has probably been removed so you can quit depending on them and looking at them and look at God and do what he asked you to do. Nobody looks at that thing though, because you will not have another God before him. Let me be very clear about that. Ask me how I know. That was one of the reasons my ex-husband was removed from my life. So listen, let me tell you something. You are required, as you move and live and breathe in this lifetime, to work your gift. Whatever that thing is you love to do that you will get, that you wouldn't even accept money for, that you would do it for free. That is your gift. Your gift is to make room for you, which is money, which is to help people, right? You are called to do that thing. You do not have a choice to make an excuse of why you don't do that thing or things, because some of us have more than one talent or skill. And you're called to help people with that, whatever that gift is, right? You are chosen to do so, right? And remove the excuses of why you feel like you can't, because God doesn't care about those. That's what he doesn't care about. He doesn't care about your excuses as to why you're not doing what he's asking you to do. He doesn't care, but he cares about you. He loves you. So anyway, I gotta go. I had to hop off here, but when he was talking to me about that, I was like, oh Jesus, this is so good to me. So let me tell your people what you said. So anyway, he does care about you, but he doesn't care about your excuses and why you're not living and walking according to the gifts that he has given you. So anyway, money calls. I gotta go. You guys have a blessed day. This is your girl Reagan Adams with All Things Reagan, and Reagan says, I think it, I see it, I do it, and you should too. Bye.